Hey everyone, get ready to be surprised the next time you hit your local grocery store. Food prices are on the rise, and we're here to unpack why. Thanks to a combination of severe weather events like droughts and massive storms, coupled with a slew of global issues, farmers are struggling to grow and produce food. This is driving up costs for all of us, and the sad truth is, these prices aren't going to drop anytime soon. Get ready to stretch your budget, as many everyday items could cost nearly double what they did just last year. In this video, we'll dive into what this means for our dinner tables and pantries. We've got a list of 12 essential foods that are about to get much pricier, so don't miss out. Stick around to the end, because we'll also reveal the top items you should start stocking up on right now. Let's dive in. 12. Milk. Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves as we unveil the 12th essential food that is set to almost double in price this year. Milk. Yes, you heard that right. The creamy goodness that many of us pour into our morning coffee or cereal is gearing up for a steep price hike. So what's causing this surge in milk prices? Let's dive into the details. First off, let's talk about the weather. Climate change is having a more significant impact on our daily lives than many realize, and milk production is no exception. Intense heat waves and prolonged dry spells are wreaking havoc on crop growth, including the feed grains that dairy cows rely on. With feed prices escalating, farmers are finding it more expensive to maintain their herds. And when dairy cows experience heat stress due to high temperatures, their milk production drops, adding another layer of cost for producers. But that's not all. Fuel prices are also on the rise, making it more expensive to transport milk from farms to grocery stores. From the farm's gate to your fridge, every step in the process is becoming costlier due to higher fuel costs. This combination of increased production and transportation expenses is pushing milk prices higher and higher. You might be asking, how significant is this price increase going to be? Experts are forecasting a price rise of about 10% by the end of 2024. While a 10% increase might not sound alarmingly high, it has substantial implications when you consider the essential role milk plays in households around the world. Milk isn't just a beverage, it's a key ingredient in countless recipes and an essential source of nutrients, especially for growing children. 11. Meat. Up next on our list of essential foods that will double in price this year is meat. Yes, you heard that right, meat. Both red meats like beef and pork are experiencing eye-popping price hikes. So, what's causing this meaty dilemma? Well, let's start with the unpredictable weather that Mother Nature has thrown our way. We've seen everything from long dry spells to torrential rains. These wild weather patterns have made it increasingly difficult to grow the feed that livestock munch on, such as corn and soybeans. You got it. Less feed means higher costs. Think of it like this. When corn and soybean prices soar, so does the cost to raise your favorite steak or bacon. But the crazy weather isn't the only culprit here. Let's talk about the human element. Labor shortages. Slaughterhouses and meat processing plants are grappling with fewer workers. When there aren't enough hands to process the meat, production grinds to a slower pace, and you guessed it, costs go up. Imagine going through your day without enough coffee. Everything just drags on, right? The same concept applies here, and we can't ignore the rising fuel prices, which add another layer to this price surge. Transporting meat from the farm to the supermarket shelf costs more when fuel prices are sky-high. This increase in transportation costs inevitably trickles down to the price tags you see at the store. That juicy burger or tender pork chop will soon feel like luxury items. Economists are predicting a jaw-dropping 15% rise in meat prices by the end of 2024. So, if you're a meat lover, now might be a good time to reconsider those plant-based alternatives or start looking for sales and bulk buy opportunities. 10. Coffee. If you're a coffee lover, brace yourself because coffee prices are skyrocketing, and it isn't just a small bump. Experts estimate an 18% rise. Why is this happening? Well, The coffee industry, like many others, is feeling the ripple effects of a combination of factors. It's a perfect storm, starting with Mother Nature herself. Major coffee-producing countries such as Brazil and Colombia have been hit by severe weather fluctuations. Imagine the vibrant coffee plantations of Brazil facing devastating droughts one season and relentless floods the next. These extreme weather conditions have severely harmed coffee crops, diminishing overall yields and impacting the supply chain. But that's not all. The labor force that tends to these precious coffee plants has also dwindled due to various reasons, including migration, ongoing health crises, and political instability within producing regions. When there aren't enough hands to work the fields or maintain the processing facilities, production slows down considerably. This shortage adds another layer to the growing problem, making it even harder for those delicious coffee beans to make their journey from farm to cup. Speaking of journeys, transportation costs have shot up too. Rising fuel prices are driving up the cost of transporting coffee beans from the lush farms where they're grown to the bustling markets where they're sold. Every step in the transportation process now comes with a heftier bill, further inflating the final price of your daily brew. So next time you savor that aromatic cup of coffee, remember that a lot goes on behind the scenes to make it available to you. And unless these factors get addressed, you might want to start budgeting more for your caffeine fix. 9. Wine. The beautiful wine in your glass could soon become a lot more expensive, and it's all due to the unpredictable dance of climate change. Our vineyards are becoming battlegrounds for extreme weather events like never-ending heat waves, unexpected frosts, and destructive hailstorms. These climatic changes are not just a minor inconvenience, they're slashing grape yields and sending the wine industry into a tailspin. Less grapes mean less wine, and this scarcity inevitably leads to higher prices for that bottle you enjoy with dinner. But the story doesn't end there. The cost of creating that iconic glass bottle in which your wine is contained is skyrocketing as well. The price of sand, a primary raw material in glass production, is on the rise, not to mention the higher energy costs needed to manufacture these bottles. This ripple effect, starting from growing the grapes to bottling the wine, compounds the overall cost dramatically. And let's not forget the soaring fuel prices. Transportation costs are climbing, which means getting that precious bottle from the vineyard to your local store shelves is becoming pricier. All these factors combined spell one thing: the price of your beloved wine is set to soar. Economists predict that by the end of the year, we could be seeing an increase of around 10 to 12%. So next time you raise a toast, just remember, the luxurious experience of sipping fine wine could soon come with a heftier price tag. Whether it's for a special occasion or just to unwind, enjoying wine might become a bit more of a splurge this year. Make sure to stock up now, before these changes fully take hold. 8. Quinoa. Quinoa, often hailed as a miracle grain and a staple for health enthusiasts, is about to get pricier. In recent times, this ancient grain has been celebrated for its incredibly high nutritional value, packed with protein, fiber, vitamins, and essential minerals, making it a quintessential superfood. But brace yourselves because the price of quinoa is set to climb by approximately 10%. And here's why. The climate crisis is the primary culprit. Unfavorable weather conditions, driven by climate change, have hit key quinoa-growing regions particularly hard. We've seen a significant increase in the frequency and intensity of droughts, abrupt temperature changes, and an uptick in pest and disease outbreaks. These adverse conditions have severely impacted quinoa yields, making the harvest far less predictable and abundant. But that's not all. The rising cost of transportation due to spiking fuel prices is adding to the burden. The journey from farm to table is becoming increasingly expensive, and these additional costs inevitably trickle down to the consumer. Farmers and shippers grapple with these challenges, struggling to maintain a stable supply chain. Why does all this matter to you? If you're a fan of quinoa for its versatility in salads, bowls, and even breakfast dishes, you might want to stock up before the price hike hits your grocery store. The increasing demand for this trendy superfood isn't slowing down, and neither are the factors driving up its price. So next time you spot a quinoa sale, consider it a golden opportunity to save. 7. Almond milk. Are you a fan of almond milk? Well, we have some important news for you. The price of this beloved dairy alternative is set to soar, and it's all connected to several key factors that you need to be aware of. So why is almond milk about to become more expensive? Let's dive in. First off, it's all about the almonds. Almond-growing regions like California are facing significant challenges due to climate change. Droughts and rising temperatures are putting a serious dent in almond yields. With less almonds being harvested, there's a direct impact on the cost of almond milk since almonds are the primary ingredient. And it's not just about fewer almonds. The entire process from farm to table is being affected. But that's not all. Packaging costs are also climbing. The prices of raw materials like plastic and cardboard are shooting up, which means the cartons that almond milk comes in are more expensive to produce. And let's not forget transportation. Fuel prices are rising, adding to the cost of shipping almond milk from the factories to our favorite grocery stores. When you put all these factors together, decreased almond supply, higher packaging costs, and increased transportation expenses, it's no surprise that we're expecting almond milk prices to spike by about 14% by the end of 2024. 6. Cheese. Cheese, one of the most beloved and versatile foods worldwide, is unfortunately on the rise when it comes to pricing. Many experts are predicting an alarming increase of up to 12% by the close of 2024. The reasons behind this dramatic uptick are multifaceted, so let's break down what's causing this cheesy inflation. Firstly, the cost of dairy, the key ingredient in cheese production, has been soaring. A significant factor is the increase in the price of feed for dairy cows. This season, we've witnessed devastating droughts and unpredictable heat waves that have seriously impacted crop yields. As a result, there's been a marked shortage of vital feed, pushing costs up. When farmers face higher expenses to feed their cattle, those additional costs inevitably trickle down to the consumers in the form of higher cheese prices. Adding fuel to the fire, quite literally, is the surge in fuel prices. Transporting dairy products is becoming increasingly expensive as the cost of gasoline hits new highs. This means that getting cheese from the farm to your local supermarket now comes with a heftier price tag. This logistics hurdle doesn't just affect cheese, but impacts a broad spectrum of dairy products, exacerbating the overall price surge. But let's not forget the hidden costs, such as labor and packaging, which are also on the upswing. The labor market has become more competitive, pushing wages higher, and the price of packaging materials has been climbing too. All these elements combine to create a perfect storm, driving cheese prices through the roof. Economists and market analysts are keeping a close eye on these ongoing trends. They suggest that if these conditions persist, we might not just see a 12% hike, but potentially even more as we move into the upcoming years. So, as you budget for your favorite cheesy delights, prepare for your wallet to feel a bit lighter. 5. Yogurt. Are you a fan of yogurt? Well, you might want to brace yourself because the price of this beloved dairy staple is set to climb significantly. Let's dive into why yogurt is joining the ranks of essential foods facing dramatic price hikes this year. First off, the root cause can be traced back to the soaring cost of milk. Milk serves as the foundational ingredient in yogurt, and recent spikes in milk prices are now trickling down to this popular product. Every spoonful of that creamy goodness is becoming more expensive to produce. But that's not all. For those who prefer flavored yogurt varieties, be prepared for an even steeper rise in costs. The prices of fruits used for flavoring are also on the upswing, driven by a variety of factors such as unpredictable weather conditions, infestations by pests, and the spread of crop diseases. Each of these elements plays a role in pushing the cost of fruit higher and, in turn, affecting your favorite fruity yogurt. Next, let's talk about packaging. It's not something we think about often, but the containers that hold our yogurt are contributing to the price increase as well. Rising costs of raw materials like plastics and paperboard are driving up packaging expenses. And don't forget transportation. With fuel prices seeing a drastic rise, the cost to ship yogurt from the production facilities to your local grocery store shelves is also escalating. When you add it all together, higher milk prices, more expensive fruit, inflated packaging costs, and growing transportation expenses, you get a perfect storm that's poised to drive yogurt prices up by an estimated 11% by the end of 2024. 4. Olive oil. Olive oil prices are on a steep upward trajectory, and several compelling factors are contributing to this rise. One major issue is the outbreak of diseases in olive groves. Take Xylella fastidiosa, for example, a bacterial plant pathogen that wreaks havoc on olive trees' health. The result? Severely reduced productivity and significantly lower olive yields. This isn't just an isolated problem, it's having a wide-reaching impact on the olive oil market. Another significant factor is the increasingly unpredictable weather patterns. Primary olive oil-producing countries like Spain and Italy are bearing the brunt of these changes. The increased frequency and intensity of droughts and heat waves are making it incredibly difficult for olive farmers to maintain their usual production levels. It's a perfect storm that leaves olive groves parched and struggling to produce. As if diseases and climate change weren't enough, soaring transportation costs are adding another layer to the problem. Rising fuel prices have a direct impact on how much it costs to move olive oil from the farms to your local grocery store. Every mile transported adds more dollars to the final price tag you see on the shelf. These converging factors could lead to olive oil prices skyrocketing by an estimated 20% by the end of the year. Imagine the impact on your favorite recipes and kitchen staples. So, if you're an avid user of olive oil, it might be wise to stock up now before this essential pantry item becomes a lot more expensive. 3. Tea. The comforting and aromatic world of tea is facing a seismic shift, with prices steeply rising. Here's why your favorite brew is getting more expensive. In the lush fields of key tea-producing countries like India, China, and Kenya, climate change is leaving its mark. These regions are battling unprecedented climate fluctuations. Erratic rainfall patterns bring too much or too little water, and prolonged droughts stress tea plants to the brink. This instability directly impacts the quantity and quality of the tea harvested, making each sip that much more precious. But that's not all. Once the tea leaves are plucked, they require a meticulous process of drying, fermenting, and packing before they reach your cup. The energy costs involved in these processes have been on the rise. Whether it's heating the drying rooms or running the machinery that prepares the tea for packaging, energy is an indispensable part of tea production. Adverse economic conditions and spikes in energy prices amplify these costs. And let's not forget about the logistics. To get you that perfect cup of tea, the processed leaves must travel across the globe. Rising fuel prices are driving up transportation costs, adding another layer of expense. From the moment the tea leaves the plantation to when it arrives at your local store, each stage of the journey is becoming more costly. As these factors converge, analysts predict that tea prices are likely to escalate by a staggering 15% or more by the end of this year. So next time you enjoy a tranquil moment with your favorite blend, remember that there's a complex and increasingly expensive journey behind each cup. Will tea continue to be a staple in your pantry, or will its rising costs push you towards other alternatives? 2. Chocolate. Get ready to dig a little deeper into your pockets because the price of chocolate is set to soar. But why are the costs of our beloved bars and truffles climbing? Let's dive into the rich, complex factors stirring up this storm. First up, let's talk cocoa. This essential ingredient in chocolate comes mostly from West Africa, where hotter temperatures and changing weather patterns due to climate change are wreaking havoc. These harsh conditions mean lower yields for cocoa farmers, so the price of cocoa beans is rising steeply. Climate change isn't just a buzzword here, it's a direct threat to the chocolate we love. But that's not all. Sugar, another vital component of chocolate, has also been hit by rising costs. The reasons are multifaceted, involving everything from global supply chain disruptions to adverse agricultural conditions affecting sugar-producing regions. This double whammy of higher cocoa and sugar prices forms a perfect storm that keeps pushing chocolate prices upward. And let's not forget about transportation. Higher fuel prices are driving up the cost of shipping cocoa beans and finished chocolate products around the world. Every mile these sweet treats travel has a cost, and as fuel prices rise, so does the cost of getting chocolate from factories to your local store shelves. Taking inflation into account, economists are predicting that the price of chocolate could increase by around 10% by the end of 2024. It's a bitter pill to swallow, especially for those of us who see chocolate as a tiny daily indulgence. So, what can you do? Stock up when you see a good deal, savor every bite, and maybe even try your hand at homemade chocolate creations. One thing's for sure, appreciating the journey from cocoa bean to chocolate bar will make every morsel taste just a little bit sweeter. 1. Tofu. Tofu, the versatile and nutrient-rich food made from soybeans, is a staple in many kitchens across the globe. However, this beloved plant-based protein is not immune to the economic forces currently wreaking havoc on food prices. The primary culprit behind the rising costs of tofu is the escalating price of its key ingredient, soybeans. In recent months, unfavorable weather conditions have significantly impacted soybean crops. Unpredictable patterns of drought and excessive rainfall have culminated in reduced yields, making soybeans more scarce and consequently more expensive. This scarcity is directly translating to higher production costs for tofu. Furthermore, the logistics of bringing tofu from the farm to your table are becoming increasingly costly. With fuel prices surging, transportation expenses are skyrocketing. These higher transportation costs are inevitably passed on to consumers, resulting in steeper prices at the checkout. But the story doesn't end there. The ripple effects of these increases extend far beyond the supermarket aisle. Restaurants and food service providers, who rely heavily on tofu for various dishes, are also being forced to adjust their menus and prices. Consumers who enjoy tofu in their favorite dishes may find themselves paying a premium for the same meal they enjoyed at a lower cost just months ago. According to market analysts, the price of tofu is projected to rise by an astounding 12% by the end of the year. This increase is not just a minor adjustment, it signifies a substantial jump that could impact many households, particularly those that rely on tofu as a primary protein source. As we navigate through these challenging economic times, understanding the factors that influence the prices of our everyday essentials can help us make more informed choices. From the rising costs of tea and chocolate to the escalating prices of tofu, it's clear that our grocery bills are set to increase. These changes not only impact our wallets, but also shape our dietary habits and consumption patterns. What about you? How are you planning to adapt to these rising food costs? Are there any alternatives or strategies you're considering to manage your budget? We'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insights into the evolving world of food economics. Thank you for watching.